Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Sam, or Chaotic, and welcome back to another Grand Theft Auto 5 video here on my channel. Now I'd imagine a lot of you guys would have woken up this morning and expected to see the Karen 190Z released in GTA Online. The Karen 190Z was the next car in order of release in GTA Online. But for some reason, Rockstar have completely skipped the release of the Karen 190Z and released the Vapid Hustler instead. So when you guys log in now, you'll find the Vapid Hustler available to purchase from the legendary motorsports website for $625,000. This is the first time ever the Rockstar have skipped a vehicle in the release order, and here is a screenshot right now of the legendary motorsports website showing the order of release these vehicles should have been released in, with the Karen 190Z released first, followed by the Vapid Hustler. Now to many of you guys, especially newer players, this may not really mean all that much or seem all that significant, but it really is. Like I said, it is the first time the Rockstar have skipped a vehicle which should have been released next to go to something else. But I fully understand why Rockstar have done this. It makes total sense. The Vapid Hustler is the most fitting vehicle to be released this week, with Valentine's Day being tomorrow, and this car being as close to a Valentine's Day themed vehicle that we're going to get in GTA Online. As I'm sure you guys would agree, this car is very similar in terms of its shape and design to the Albany Roosevelt and the Albany Roosevelt Valor, two cars which previously were released for a Valentine's Day update. But this means when Rockstar eventually releases the Karen 190Z in GTA Online, it won't be placed after the Vapid Hustler on the website. It will be placed before the Vapid Hustler in the same order that I showed you guys a few moments ago in the screenshot. Nothing too crazy, I guess, just something which, like I said, we've never seen before and didn't expect to see. Anyway, but either way, in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Vapid Hustler, showcasing it and going through a few things you guys need to know about this car before you buy it in GTA Online. So then, first of all, like I said, you can now purchase this car in GTA Online from the legendary motorsports website for a buy it now price of $625,000. The Vapid Hustler, of course, is a hot rod looking pretty similar to the Hot Knife which we have in game already, but it's actually based upon the Ford Highboy Deuce. Here is a photo of that right now, and I'm sure you guys would agree, it looks very, very similar to the one that we have in game. Now in fairness, the Vapid Hustler is a very nice and cool looking hot rod. I know loads and loads of you guys were really looking forward to seeing this in game and will be very happy with the release of this in GTA Online. But let's take a look at the customizations next, and this thing does have a decent amount of customization option choices at the custom shop. So first of all, in the front bumpers category, you have the option to either delete the front bumper and remove it entirely, or go for the rusty front bumper. There are loads and loads of rusty themed customizations for this car, so if you want to, you can go for a completely rusty look. Then around to the back, you have the same two options. You can remove the bumper or go for the rusty look. Moving on then to the exhaust system. Now from stock you have two exhausts coming out the back, which in my opinion is pretty nice anyway, but if you want to, you can go for a much more classic and original hot rod look, having the exhaust come straight off the engine and going out the side, with options such as the short upswept pipes or the low upswept pipes, the Stinger or the side exit exhaust. I ended up going for the low upswept pipes though, those are my favorites. Then moving on to grills, again a few different options in here depending on what you guys want to go for. You've got the rusty grill, so if you guys want to go for that rusted look, you can. There's also the salted grill option. Again, there are a few customization options which match that as well. You can also remove the grill entirely. Again, there are a few options which go well with that, or you can go for the mesh look, which is what I did as well. Then in the hoods category, if you want to, you can remove the hood and you can fit either a single intake or a triple intake bug catcher. There's also the ram air pipe option as well, but I personally prefer it stock. Then the next customization option we're taking a look at is liveries. And in here, as you can see, we have 11 different liveries to choose between. And as I'm sure you guys would agree, there is a nice choice as well. If you want to, you could match that rusted theme. There's a few different options for that. There's also a salted livery as well, which is kind of cool. There's also the flame option in both yellow and purple. I also love those. In fact, some of the liveries for this car are some of my favorites that we have in game in general, but I ended up going for the custom racer. Then as for the paint job on this car, now in fairness, this car looks great in a range of different colors, and we went through pretty much everything in my live stream earlier today, but I ended up choosing just red both primary and secondary, which is what this car already came in when I got it. so I didn't change it. Then in roofs, you have the option to fit a sunshade, which is kind of cool as well, so I went ahead and fitted one of those. And then in skirts, if you want to, you can remove the side panels if you left the stock exhaust on. Obviously, I have these upswept ones, so it's already been removed. Or if you want to, you can remove the panels and the fenders as well. Again, some of you guys may like that, but I preferred the stock look. Now, the next customization I want to very quickly talk about is suspension. Now, if you guys did watch my live stream earlier today of this car, you'll know not to lower the suspension on this vehicle, because as you're driving around, this vehicle, once lowered, although it may not look that low, you'll run into pretty much every curb and be spun out. It's just a little bit too low, which means when you do hit those, your car will be spun out as a result, so do avoid lowering the suspension and you'll be okay. But to finish off this customization, I fitted a set of the flare wheels from the lowriders category and set the wheel color just to stock. I thought those were pretty nice and really matched the style of this vehicle. Of course, ensured they were bulletproof and set a red tire smoke, and finished things off by setting the window tint to limo. So there we go then, guys. That is the customization then of the new Vapid Hustler. Certainly a lot of options for this vehicle. Maybe not quite as many as some of you guys may have liked or preferred, but certainly some pretty nice options for this vehicle to improve it overall. My favorite customization really being the liveries. Like I said, there are some really nice choices for this vehicle, and I do feel like the Vapid Hustler will be very popular for that reason with some of these Snapmatic photographers. So if you guys are into that sort of thing, definitely check out this vehicle just for that, as this thing looks very picturesque once customized. But alongside these Snapmatic photographers, I can see this car being very, very popular with the hot rod and muscle car fans. Yes, this car is a muscle car, in case you guys were wondering, but I know that many of you guys were really looking forward to seeing this car in GTA 5 ever since it was first found and leaked to be coming to GTA Online with the Doomsday Heist updates, and I'm sure many of you guys will be very happy and satisfied with this vehicle. The car looks great, there's plenty of customization, it's fast, which we'll talk about a little more in a few moments, but there are one or two things about this I know other players won't be so happy about. So of course, with this being an old and classic vehicle, I know many players won't be interested in this car whatsoever for that, and I fully understand. If you guys don't really like old and classic vehicles, this car definitely isn't for you. But for those players that do, there are many reasons to be satisfied with this vehicle. For starters, like I said, it is a very cool looking car. There's plenty of customization options for this vehicle as well, and as we'll talk about a little more in a few moments, it's also very, very quick. But there are one or two things which I think let this car down. For starters, its handling. This thing, I know it's a hot rod, but isn't very good whatsoever when it comes to going around corners. In fact, this thing has a very wide turning circle, and you need a lot of space to actually get around the corners. So in those race situations, this thing is not the vehicle to choose. In fact, it is one of the worst racing vehicles you can use in very corner-intense races in the muscle car category. But again, that is understandable. This is a hot rod after all. It's well known for doing fast, straight lines, not fast track times. Now, speaking of which, let's compare the new Vapid Hustler against some of the other top muscle cars that we have in the category, starting things off with a straight line drag race at the airport. Well, we're going to compare the Vapid Hustler, which is fully customized, against a fully customized Vapid Dominator, which is the fastest muscle car in the category in a straight line, as well as the Yosemite or the Yosemite, which of course is the fastest or the best car to use around the track. Well, as you guys can see, the Vapid Hustler is able to complete this drag race in 23.08 seconds, hitting a top speed of 116 miles an hour at the end of the drag race. Up next is the Vapid Dominator, and as mentioned before, this is the fastest car in the muscle car category with a top speed of just over 124 miles an hour. But you may be able to notice at first that its acceleration isn't quite as good as the Vapid Hustler, which means to get from 0 to 100 is a little slower than the Vapid Hustler, and it's possibly why this is a little slower in this drag race, taking 23.24 seconds to complete this. Then finally we have the Declasse Yosemite or Yosemite. Now this only reached a top speed of 111 miles an hour in this drag race, but it does have a decent acceleration rate just like the Vapid Hustler, but its slightly reduced top speed meant it was a little slower again than the Vapid Hustler and only completes this drag race in 23.27 seconds. So these three cars are very, very close, but the winner is the Vapid Hustler, which means the best car in a straight line for drag races is the new Vapid Hustler. But despite being slightly faster than all the other muscle cars in the category, this is one of the worst vehicles you can use around a track. So if you guys want to buy this and use this in muscle car races, well, expect to come last or very close to it. Like I said, the handling and cornering on this vehicle is really, really bad. The brakes are awful, which means when you want to come to a stop, it takes a very long time, and it requires a very wide turning circle as well, which makes this thing very difficult to control in race situations. And you'll soon notice this just cruising around in free roam. I know I'm not the best driver, and you can probably tell that in the gameplay, but you should also be able to see the fact this thing isn't great when it comes to handling. Anyway, but there we go then guys, with that being said, that's pretty much it then for this video, and the things you guys need to know. But I guess the question now to finish things off with, is this car worth buying? Well, as always, this car is more of a novelty item than something you actually need in-game. And it's one of those things that if you have to question whether it's worth buying or not, the answer is probably no. But it's one of those cars that if you guys do like hot rods and you like muscle cars, this car could possibly be for you. But in my opinion, this vehicle will be one of those ones which you might buy, use once or twice, then put back into your garage and possibly never use again. And for the price of $625,000 plus customizations, which can cost anywhere from $250,000 to $300,000, you're going to be spending upwards of almost $1 million on this vehicle for something which you may only use once or twice. But I of course want to get your thoughts and feelings on this. What do you guys think about the new Vapid Hustler? Do you guys like it? Do you not? Will you be buying one? Will you not? So go ahead and let me know right now in the comment section. I know loads and loads of you guys are going to be wondering and asking about the Karin 190Z, the car that should have came out today but wasn't released for whatever reason that is. Now of course that will most likely be coming out next week on Tuesday, February 20th. So for those people wondering, don't worry, it hasn't been scrapped. The release date is just being pushed back so Rockstar can release this, the Vapid Hustler, for Valentine's Day. Well, with that being said, guys, that's pretty much it then for this video. Of course, if you guys could drop a like, it would of course be greatly appreciated, and it helps me out a lot. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would recommend that you do, because I upload all the latest and the greatest Grand Theft Auto 5 content. So as always, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.